Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about, fellas, is the scoot or scooting, okay? Now this uses the double under, it uses feet behind, but we're isolating on the exact position of the feet. So I'll draw this for us, okay? So here's a center, could be a right guard, could be a right tackle. I'll put a man on the outside shoulder of each blocker. I'll call that a nose man. I'll call that a defensive tackle. I'll call that a defensive end, okay? Let's say the football is going to be run somewhere in the A gap, possibly in the B gap, all right, but somewhere between the center and the tackle. And we want to take these guys straight back off the football, all right? So if you'll notice, we want to talk about feet behind, which we just saw. We saw that Bengal receiver. We saw the Dallas Cowboy tight end come in motion. Their feet were behind him. So this block would be, for example, the center would take a step back. His second step would be back. His feet are grounded underneath him. His upper body is going forward, though. He has a forward lean, and then both feet are anchored into the ground. Then as I block the man with slight outside head position, I'm able to get in front of a man who's in front of me without taking an angle step, without taking a reach step. So all I've done is gone over and back and then charging forward. But I am moving forward, all right, fellas? So it isn't like you're going backwards. Your feet go backward, but your upper trunk goes forward. So you are strongest in this position because you're trying to get as square as you can. This center's trying to get over here and get squared up on this nose tackle, but because he's over here a little bit, I have to lose some ground to go ahead and get in front of him, all right? So you will see the feet scoot. That's what we're isolating on in this. You may see some double unders, all right? You may see some of the other things we're talking about, but let's look at the feet, the scooting ability to get in front of a guy who's not in front of you. Okay, if you'll notice the center, okay, he's going to block number 58, the linebacker. But notice his feet. Watch his right foot go back and his left foot go back. He's scooting. He's trying to stay on the line of scrimmage, or excuse me, on or behind the line of scrimmage slightly so he can come back and help on number 92 before he goes up to 58. So you notice when the feet scoot, both feet are behind. I've got a nice wide base. I'm in my duck demeanor, all of those things that you guys know about. But he's not in a hurry to go play side, and the feet are scooting, if that makes sense to you. All right? All right, now watch the center here, okay? He's on a deeper scoot, all right? He's trying to get in front of the linebacker. He also might want to help number 93 if he pinches. But notice 2 steps back, his upper body's leaning forward, so he's not piercing, he's not moving into the line of scrimmage too quickly. He could help the backside guard. You know, he can do some various things, but he's scooting to get his job done. Watch the backside guard here, number 66. All right? Now he's trying to go and help that defensive tackle a little bit and then get to the linebacker. But see how his feet are going 2 steps backwards? He's making up ground laterally before he goes. So you can use this on the play side. You can use this on the back side. Watch the right tackle here for Dallas. Okay? His right foot could come back just a little bit further, but you notice there's no real forward motion. He's scooting. If you watch the center, he's trying to combination block with the left guard. But you'll notice he doesn't step right at the defensive tackle. He takes 2 steps slightly backwards. Then he's able to fit himself in that little groove. But you notice the scooting ability, okay? No forward steps until at least he's taken his 3rd step. Okay, here's the right guard for Ball State. He's got a man on his outside shoulder. If you'll see number 68, the right guard, he's in a 2-point stance because they use 2-point stance. But that guy's on his outside shoulder, all right? Watch him take his right foot and go backwards, his left foot and go backwards, but his upper body is going forward, okay? So as you'll notice, you see the left foot come back. I'll freeze it right there, okay? Excuse me. He's got both feet behind him, which gives him power because his feet are rooted, and then he drives and lifts and finishes the man, all right? So there's a good example of the feet scooting, so he can get in the front of a guy who's not in front of him. Now, he could have his helmet a little bit further to the play side number. I'm not talking so much about the hands here, but the actual feet scooting. Okay, here's another example. Watch the right guard, number 65. He's going to come over here and help the right tackle with a defensive end in a 3-4 defense or a 3-4 under, and he loses ground 2 steps before he sticks his hands in and finishes the guy. He could be a little lower, okay, bend his knees a little bit more, but you'll notice the scooting of the feet. So I think with the 4 or 5 examples we've just shown that you guys have a pretty good example of what scooting means, that you can get in front of a guy or get over where you don't have to turn your pads as much, and when you do make contact, your feet are rooted into the ground.
Okay, the next concept we're going to show is the scoot. The scoot is a lateral movement. We're trying to basically get it to a play side of a defender, or basically if I've got a shade here, Marshall, I'm a left guard, Marshall's a 3 technique, and we're running an inside zone, outside zone, whatever. Really the angle will depend upon the entry of the back. In this case, we're going to run whether it's A gap, B gap zone. I'm going to laterally scoot. What I want to do, we're not going to do any lead steps or anything like that. Our feet are behind. That's a critical component of this block. So as I scoot, call it scoot, we're going to really be tight with our feet, foot fire. That way, if the defender happens to catch us with first and touch us first, we're not disrupted by having a big foot, a big gap off the ground. You know, if I'm not grounded, it's easy for the guy to get into me and push me. So scooting is tight feet. There's really no second step contact like a lot of coaches talk about. You want to strike on the second foot. What we're trying to accomplish here with the scoot is striking with both feet on the ground, no matter what happens. By staying square, we're basically forming, it's almost like we're trying to get to the position we want on that defender. We're going to take him right off the center line. So if Marshall's a 3 technique, you watch my feet, I'm going to scoot laterally. I want weight in my insteps, my feet, that duck demeanor again. So I'm coming here. I'm going to drive off of that. My hips are behind, my hands are in front. A lot of times, if you're a guard and you got a little space between the defender, you can afford to go laterally. But centers, for instance, you're going to have to get a little bit of depth when they scoot. Your footwork will really depend on the proximity of the defender, also in the entry of the running back, or the ball carrier. So Steven's a nose tackle. I'm a center. He's really crowding me, and he's on my shade, my left-hand shade here. And I have to get to this position here, being square. Well, I can't just step square because he's going to blow me upfield. I got to drop that left foot, replace. So you watch my footwork slowly. Just coming here, get in that position where I'm very square and powerful. Notice how powerful that was with little effort. Was that pretty strong?
Yeah, it was very strong.
Why? Because my hips are coming through the arc strength position. My toes are out. I have a great base. I'm grounded. I'm playing long. I'm playing low to high. But most critically, elbows are within the frame. It's very critical there, okay? So as a center, you're going to have to get a little depth before you start to press vertically to get that fit we want. All we're trying to do is get to a certain relationship. And the relationship that we're trying to finish with on the scoot for the purpose of the footwork is to be in this position. So Marshall's leaning forward a little bit. I'm going to offset him here. Sorry, let's go square up to the line. So if I'm here and he's offset this way, I'm going to really try to get to this position where I'm offset here. Traditionally, guys would open and drop step, bucket step, whatever. Dealing with movement, you can't block in this day and age with all that stuff. So you're very much compromised if you open up and turn. We're not going to turn, we're going to stay square. Those defenders, if they decide to pirate stunt, to pinch, to loop, whatever, they're the ones that have compromised their integrity, and we're staying square so we can pick up whatever comes, okay? By being in great control. So as I laterally scoot, my feet will fire rapidly. I want to have all the same concepts we talked about with the double under, staying grounded, hands tight, low to high. We're going to come and try to get off fit on this guy, but critical piece is to make sure that our feet are always grounded, and you can do that with the scoot progression. So now I'm looking at like a guard here, blocking a 3 technique. Marshall's into 3. Okay, so what I'm doing is, boom, I'm bringing my hips with it. So it's really tight feet, as you saw in the video clips that Coach McNally pointed out. You want to maintain those feet tight to the ground. That way you're always grounded and always in control.